What is up, everybody? Welcome to my cube. So, if you're unfamiliar with cube is basically like your build your own magic set. And if you've never cubed before, you should definitely try it because if you want to get better at magic, it's definitely one of the good ways to do that. Just because instead of like drafting like a normal set, you're drafting with some of the best cards in Magic. And the best way to kind of think about it is it's almost like how do you want to put it? It's kind of like playing like Street Fighter or something like that, and all the characters are unlocked, and they all have their power maxed out, and it's just, man, I've never not had fun playing Cube, just because at the end of the day, you're still building this really fun, powerful deck, and win or lose, it's always a blast. But in this video, I'm kind of going to show you my Cube because I want you to draft it. I'm going to show you my Cube, and if you're new to Cube, I'm kind of going to explain the different archetypes within a Cube. So I'm just going to start at white and then work my way across. So with white, there's a couple different ways you can go with white. The traditional way with white is you can go like a little bit of a white aggro type deck, and so one of the ways you can do that is you have stuff like the Hound right here. It's a 2/2. You have a Soldier of the Pantheon 2/1. So you're going to build all these like little creatures that kind of build up and make a really big force. And one of the things that you can do with white is you can kind of splash a little green in there. You can go a little red white, or you can go Naya humans in there. So as far as the creatures in white, you're usually kind of setting up a little bit of a kind of an aggro type build. As some of the other creatures in there, we also have Anafinza, the Keytrain spirit. So whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield, bolster 1. So what you can do with Anafinza, so this is one of the unique things about Cube is, the way I've set my Cube up is we have Anafinza in here, but I also have a Sack Outlet in Viscera Seer. And if you come over here to the, I think it's under, where is it? It's under Selesnya, we have Kitchen Finks. So if you have Kitchen Finks, it has Persist. So whenever a creature dies, it comes back to the battlefield with -1 counter on there. So if you draft a deck to where you have Anafinza, you have a Sack Outlet in Blood Artist, I mean not Blood Artist, in Viscera Seer, and you get Kitchen Finks in there, what happens is you end up having this infinite loop. So you just keep sacking Kitchen Finks and you keep gaining life. So you just basically gain 1,000,000 life. So that's one of the cool things to where if you're playing Cube and you see Anafinza get past you, you're like, okay, I'll snack it up. Maybe I can get into it. Next thing you know, you get into a Sack Outlet with Viscera Seer. Next thing you know, you see Kitchen Finks come across. So he has Undying right there. So you can get into that right there. Another thing to combo with Anafinza is we have under Rakdos, we have Murderous Redcap. Same thing as Kitchen Finks, except that whenever it enters the battlefield, does damage equal to its power to target creature or player. So you just start sacking Murderous Redcap, and then the +1 counter keeps getting put on it, and then you keep dealing damage to your opponent. The only way they can disrupt it is they have some type of removal right there. So with Anafinza, you can do a little busted stuff right there. We're also running a lot of artifacts in here, so you can go Kataki, Wars Mage. Other than that, just a bunch of good stuff in. Like you have Brahmaz on like the 3, 4, 5 drop. Usually getting into your good stuff right there. You got the Crusader, protection from green, black, white. I mean protection from black and green, not white too. Hero of Bladehold at the 4 drop. Restoration Angel, Ranger of Eos. Now with Restoration Angel, where is it? Restoration Angel. So it enters the battlefield, you may exile target non-angel creature you control, then return to the battlefield under your control. So let's say you have Restoration Angel. You can get into some Kiki Jiki over here to where you can get down Restoration and Kiki Jiki, make a copy of Restoration Angel, comes in the battlefield, exile Kiki Jiki, comes back in. And so basically you get into infinite where is it? You get into infinite Restoration Angels by getting into Kiki Jiki and Restoration Angel. So that's another thing to where you're drafting, you can see certain pieces like that, like, oh, well, let me go for Kiki Jiki and get into that. On the back end, we've got a good Reanimator target in Sun Titan and Elish Norn. You can go Reanimator with Elish Norn. You can also go like a green-white ramp with Elish Norn to kind of just knock your opponent's creatures out and pump your creatures up +2. I have a couple Planeswalkers in here, and then as far as the instants go in white, we have a lot of Condemn, Path to Exile, Source of Plowshare, your cheap removal right there. And we also have a lot of the enchantments where like Blind Obedience, kind of stop an aggro type deck, Journey to Nowhere, Oblivion Ring, so a lot of your removal right there. On to blue. Blue creatures are a little weaker right there. A lot of your blue creatures are going to be more of support type creatures, at least in my cube right here. You do have Delver of Secrets. Delver of Secrets is okay in cube. If you can get into a good Delver type deck, it's definitely good. But traditionally, blue's going to, at least in my cube, blue's more of your support stuff. So we have Snapcaster Mage where you can flash back on target card in your graveyard. Let me tell you, Snapcaster Mage on a, where is it? Snapcaster Mage on a Time Walk is so dirty, but it feels so good. So you can definitely get into that. Yeah, this is a powered cube, a partially powered cube. So definitely, yeah, your blue creature is your support creature. So you got Thing in the Eye, so you can build a Thing in the Eyes deck where you can get enough counters off of it. A little card draw with Wharf right there. Pestermite, I was talking about the infinite combo earlier. So if we get into a on red they have the, where is it? Splinter Twin enchantment. Splinter Twin. So a Splinter Twin, put Splinter Twin on Pestermite, enters the battlefield, untap target permanent, so you can just make infinite Pestermites. Trinket Mage, we do have artifacts in here, so you can get into some quick artifacts. Vanillion Click. We do have Clever Imposter. I do have a lot of Planeswalkers in here, so if you're drafting this cube, you can go your traditional cube archetypes, but you can also go pretty much any 3-color, just mid-range planeswalker type control deck. And with Clever Imposter, you can enter the battlefield as any non-land permanent. So you can enter the battlefield as a planeswalker. So it's really good since I have a a little bit higher number of planeswalkers in here, but it tends to be pretty fun. You got the Archmage over here. Counter target non-creature spell. Living Lore. This is one of my pet cards. I love having it in here. So Living Lore enters the battlefield, exile instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. It's equal to the converted mana cost, and then whenever it deals combat damage, sacrifice it. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. So you can Living Lore on a Time Walk. You can Living Lore on pretty much anything. If you get Addicted Time in the graveyard, you can get a 8. Living Walk. But yeah, this is one of those things where this is the fun thing about Cube is that you never see Living Lore in another cube, but when you build your own cube, you can put whatever you want there, man. So that's one of the things I get in there. We also have Master of Ways, so if you're going a little bit of mono blue devotion, a little hard to do that, but it's in there to do that. Sword of Temptation, gain control. Usually a lot of your blue creatures are support creatures or gain control of target stuff. Aetherling. Aetherling's another one of my pet cards. I love Aetherling. I got in during Return to Ravnica, and I played a lot with Aetherling, so I do have him in here. And Aetherling can be a really good limited, a good way to close the game out if you're going to build maybe like a blue-red type control type deck. Really fun playing with there. Once again, Consecrated Sphinx. It's a Reanimator target, and Frost Titan Reanimator target, or just good stuff if you're going blue in there. Got the J Suite of Planeswalkers, Jason Mind Sculptor. We have Tameo to tap your opponent down, and we have Tezzeret. We do run a lot of artifacts in here, so you can kind of build like a Tezzeret. We also have the Dimir Tezzeret in there, so you can get into a Tezzeret type deck right there. Now, as far as the blue, this is where blue is really going to shine in this cube, and pretty much any cube. Blue's going to help you. Their instant and sorcery spells tend to be a lot more powerful. Running Ancestral Recall, Snapcaster Ancestral Recall is just, oh man, just feels so good. Brainstorm, just a great blue mana cantrip. Mystical Tutor. I run a lot of tutors in here because I like to do broken things, so I don't want you to skip out on any type of tutor, so I run a lot in there. And then you got your standard counter package. We got Mana Drain, Mana Leak, Memory Lapse, Negate, Remand, Cryptic Command, Fact or Fiction. If you're building a little bit of black-blue Reanimator, you can reveal the top 5 cards of your library. Opponent separates into 2 piles. You get to put one in your hand, other in your graveyard. So if you're going Reanimator, you can definitely pick up Fact or Fiction as a way to get cards into your graveyard. Get some giving. Once again, you got to do a little bit of setting up if you're going to run Get Some Giving, but it'll go great in any deck that you can get into it. And the Insidious Will. Choose one counter-target creature spell. You may choose new targets for the spell, or copy target instant or sorcery spell. So I'm trying this out in here. With each set that gets released, I like to kind of at least give each card a new shot, or cards that I find interesting and leave to fun board states. I put it in there. Pact of Negation, Force of Will, Dig Through Time. Really good. I love Dig Through Time. Man, I wish it wasn't banned in Modern. One of my favorite cards. Once I get into Personal Tutor, your blue mana cantrips over here. Time Walk. Oh man, I love me some Time Walk. I love when I build Cube, man. When I play Cube, I never do extra turns in any type of Magic type setting, and so whenever I play Cube, man, I'm always going for the extra turns. And then we've got the Compulsive Research. Just a nice kind of like basically just a little bit card advantage. Now Show and Tell. Show and Tell is definitely a deck that you would build it around. So you get into Show and Tell. Each player may choose an artifact, creature, enchantment, or land card in his hand, then put that permanent into play. So you can build a Show and Tell or a basically, it's kind of like a legacy deck, Show and Tell and Sneak Attack. You can get some really big beaters. So let's say you have Show and Tell and you happen to get into an Elish Norn. So you can Show and Tell an Elish Norn on turn 3, get it down and wipe your opponent's creatures out. So you also run really powerful cards into Cube like Show and Tell because you can build an entire deck around it. And we also have Personal Tutor, so you can tutor into that sorcery to get into it. We're also running Tinker. Tinker's another really strong blue card. As an additional cost, sacrifice an artifact. Then you may search your library for an artifact card. There's different options you can choose. Blightsteel Colossus would be a really good option for Tinker. And you can also get into Mirror Battlesphere or just value with the Wormcoil Engine. Or, even a little Solemn, Sad Robot over there if you want to get into a Tinker on that. But basically, Cube is about giving you very strong Magic cards and you trying to build around it. So you can get into a Show and Tell Tinker deck and you can pick up all of them. You can have some fun. Capture of Xingyu, take an extra turn, and Part the Water Veil, take an extra turn. Love that. On to Black. Black creatures are a little weird. with the Magic Online cube, sometimes you get into spots where they're trying to force some type of black-red thing. And my cube, they're in here just for kind of good stuff. I do have a aristocrat style. I love playing aristocrats, blood artists, sacrifice outlets. So I am running a little bit of a stronger sacrifice outlet package in here. So we have Putrid Imp. Putrid Imp is a really good card. If you're going Reanimator, you can chunk a card in your graveyard. Viscera Seer, sack outlet. That's one of the things with the black creatures is that we are kind of just going more value over here. So we got Blood Artist in here, Blood Throne, Dark Confidant, Pack Rat. Pack Rat's really good. Especially in limited, because you can turn all those extra lands that you draw into more pack rats. I got the High Priest in here, Vampire Hexmage. I am running. Where is it? I'm drawing a blank right now. How can I draw a blank? It's the land. Can't believe I'm drawing a blank on this. I'm sorry, guys. That's what I'll say. I've just been yakking my head. Dark Depths. There we go. Okay, so if you get into Vampire Hexmage, just go over here. Vampire Hexmage. It says, first strike, sacrifice Vampire Hexmage, remove all counters from target permanent. Now, this would be a good way to deal with the Planeswalker, but if you get into a little bit of Dark Depths, put Dark Depths into play, use Vampire Hexmage to remove all the counters from it, and then you can put a Merit Lage token into play. Really good option right there. So definitely a lot of different little combos in here. And once again, hitting on the Blood Artist, you got Zulaport in here. Usually if you're going to go Aristocrats in here, you can combo with pretty much any color, black-white. You can go Aristocrats, Obzon Aristocrats. It's pretty much open. Once again, Liliana hitting with the sacrifice theme. So if you get into a sack outlet, you can get her to flip and get into some zombies. I like having sack outlets, so put a lot in there. Rotlung Reanimator. We're running. It's another. This is probably could be on the chopping block, but this is one of my favorite cards in Magic, just like ever. And there are a lot of clerics in here, so you can get into spots where you can kind of build this weird cleric sacrifice, get into a bunch of zombies deck. Vampire Nighthawk, just value creature, Desecration Demon value. Blood Gift Demon, Grave Titan, good Reanimator target. I also run Lord of the Void in here just as a nice little fun Reanimator target. I love playing with Lord of the Void, really fun. And Grizzlebrand. Grizzlebrand is definitely a really good Reanimator target just because unless you're building straight mono black, it costs 8. So he's almost going to be just an instant scoop up to go Reanimator. Running Omnixilis as the Planeswalker. Now, Black. Black's known for Reanimator. So we have stuff like Entomb. You may instant speed, search your library for a card and put it in your graveyard. As far as the other Reanimator, we have Gurio's Vengeance right here, so you can return target legendary creature card from your graveyard to play against haste. So you get into spots where you can get Grizzleband into the graveyard, it's legendary creature, bring her back with the Vengeance, and it gains haste, and maybe if you want to use it to draw 7 cards, you can definitely get after it. As far as the other Reanimator, we've got Buried Alive. Buried Alive, search your library for up to 3 creature cards, put them in the graveyard, then shuffle your library. We also have Victimize, so you can choose two target creature cards in your graveyard, sacrifice 1 creature, then bring both of them back to the battlefield. So if you get into spots where you can get a bunch of creatures in the graveyard, Victimize is really good. Really cheap too. And Living Death, so if you have a really heavy mill type plan, you can get a Living Death, flip the graveyards, get them out. Same thing with Unburial Rites. It combos with Gifts Ungiven. So if you get into Gifts Ungiven and you get into an Unburial Rites, what you do is you fire off Gifts Ungiven, you choose your Reanimator target. Let's say that we choose Elish Norn. So we're going to fire off, where is it? Gifts Ungiven, search your library for up to 4 cards. So you can choose 4 or less, you can choose 0. So by choosing 2 cards, what happens is target opponent chooses 2 of those cards, put them into the graveyard, and then put the rest of the cards into your hand. So with if you're going to Gifts Ungiven Reanimator, you search your library for Unburial Rites and Elish Norn, and you choose no other cards, then both of those go into the graveyard. Then you have Reanimator for only 4 mana with white right there. So definitely, this is one of those things where there's multiple ways to get into different archetypes within the cube. The enchantments, we have Animate Dead, Necromancy, a little card draw, Phyrexian Arena, Recurring Nightmare, Whip of Erebos. Another way, if you're going heavier mill, you can start bringing creatures back out. Whip of Erebos with a, yeah, Hornet Queen is just nasty. Love it. Fun to do right there. And then also, as far as your other instance, you have your standard removal and, Hero's Downfall. We do have run a lot of Planeswalkers here, Ultimate Price. On to Red. Red's kind of weird, man. At least for my cube, you try and support aggro. We've got Goblin Guide in here, Inventor's Apprentice. This has got released in the new Kaladesh set. And since I have so many artifacts here and I'm running the Moxes, and kind of slot into a nice little aggro deck right there. Running Monastery Swiftspear if you want to get into a blue-red type control type deck. Excuse me, taking a drink real quick. Vexing Devil, it's one of those little, what is it? It's called just like your pain choice or whatever. We got Abbott in here. But yeah, red, your earlier creatures are tend to be your aggro creatures. So we got Mog War, Marshall. We have plated GOP to where whenever land comes to the battlefield, we're running fetch lands in here. So you can turn this, if you play a fetch land, it goes to a 3/3. Get the land comes to the battlefield, it goes to a 5/5. So you can get into a 5/5 plated GOP pretty quick, pretty easy off of that. And also it has first strike, so you can kind of use it as a little bit of a combat trick. Young Pyromancer, if you want to go a bunch of spells, maybe you're going to go Snapcaster, Time Walk, Young Pyromancer. So you can definitely have some fun with Monastery Swift Spear, especially with Young Pyromancer in there. Goblin Rival Master, just a good value card. I like playing with him. Imperial Recruiter. So with Imperial Recruiter, he serves, he's an awesome tutor. Search for a creature with power no greater than 2. So Imperial, let's say you're trying to go for the Splinter Twin win with Kiki Jiki or something like that. So you can pretty much just open it up. You can get into Snapcaster. You can get into Snapcaster. You can get into Pestermite, Deceiver Exarch. Do I have Deceiver Exarch in there? I need to get it added. Yeah, I'm going to add that added. I just realized I don't have it in there. That's an oversight on my part. Yeah, I'm going to get it down there. But with Imperial Recruiter, you can get it. You can search it up right there. Yeah, somehow I missed that. I'm going to get that added after the video. But Imperial Recruiter, awesome tutor. You can search it up right there. And even if you're going just like a Naya aggro type build, you can use it to search up any type of aggro creature when you get into. Now, as far as the 4 and the 5 drops, it's a little kind of more value oriented. Ogre Battle Driver is a pretty fun little cube card I like playing with. Pia and Karan Nalar. We've got Perforos if you want to get into some fun enter the battlefield triggers. Goblin Dark Dweller. So enters the battlefield, you may cast target instant sorcery, converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. So if you're playing like maybe a Is It type control type deck or an aggro deck, Goblin Dark Dweller would be a nice little way to curve out. Once again, Kiki Jiki, it just enables a lot of stuff, and even if you don't go combo with Kiki Jiki, you can get into a spot where you can just be value-based. So let's say you build a mono red deck with Siege Gang Commander. So you can Kiki Jiki on a Siege Gang Commander, keep getting in those 3 Goblin tokens, and just really get a lot of value out of that. Zealous Conscripts, this also combos with Kiki Jiki, so you get down Kiki Jiki, get down Zealous Conscripts, make a copy of Zealous Conscripts, untap Kiki Jiki, come to the battlefield, untap Kiki Jiki, and make more of it. So basically, you can get into. There's a lot of ways to get into an infinite type creature wave within my cube. And once again, Inferno Titan, Greater Gorgon, that's in there just if you want to have some fun. We've got Chandra, the new Chandra in there. I'm excited. Test her out. And we've got Koth in there because you can turn your mountains into 4/4. As far as the instants in the red, nothing too crazy as far as the instants. You got your standard if you want to build some type of red burn deck over there. Through the Breach. Through the Breach kind of hits into the show and tell type deck or the sneak attack. So you can, for 5 mana, put a creature card from your hand on the battlefield. It gains haste, sacrifice it at the end of the turn. So if you catch a show and tell, a Through the Breach, a sneak attack, you can definitely build a deck like that. Through the Breach is a very fun card to play with. And as far as the sorcery goes, we're getting into a little bit of, we got Gamble, the Red Tutor, just a little bit of card draw. Discard a card, draw 2 cards, whatever Reds is. I also run Active Trees in there. That's fun, running Active Trees in. Blasphemous Act, Bonfire of the Damned, Sneak Attack. I've covered Splinter Twin and Sneak Attack, but yeah, Splinter Twin on a Deceiver Exarch, which I'm going to add after this video, and a Pestermite. You can go infinite with that. Now, as far as the green goes, you got your standard Mana Dorks, Avacyn's Pilgrim, Birds of Paradise. On top of that, you can also, with green, you can go kind of like a little bit of, if you go for the Naya build, you can get into some Wild Nakado aggro. You can supplement a white or a red deck with green, or you can just go green-white, green-red aggro. I'm trying her out. Seems like, 1/2, pretty solid right there. Create a 1/1, and then create an X colorless construct artifact creature where X is the number of creatures you control. So, trying her out in here. That's one of the things I like to kind of rotate. As new sets get released, I usually rotate in about anywhere from 5 to 10 cards depending on what's in there. Fauna Shaman, that helps on the aggro type build. Not aggro, excuse me. Fauna Shaman hits on the Reanimator build because you can discard a creature card for a Reanimator target and then search your library for a creature card. Same thing with Hermit Druid. It's a good way to get a bunch of cards in your graveyard really quick. Now Malera combos with the so your creatures can't have -1 counters placed on them. So if you get into a sack outlet, get Malera out there and get into either a Madcap, Murderous Redcap, or get into a Kitchen Finks, you can either gain infinite life with Malera out there because they won't get those minus counters, or if you get into, you can gain infinite life. Either deal infinite damage or deal infinite life, but simply just by having it out there. And same thing, we have a little bit of redundancy, so you can build a green, white, black, kind of like a little Obzon, basically like Collected Company in Modern with with both of those. So you can, if you don't see Malera, you can definitely get into Anafinza and try and combo off that way. Value creature, Tarmogoyf, Wall of Roots. We got Azusa, Lost of Sync. So if you're gonna go green ramp, you can get into it right there. Eternal Witness. On the back end, we've got Primeval Titan, another way to get into green ramp. Avenger of Zendikar, great reanimator target. Same thing with Hornet Queen. Crater Hoof, oh yeah. Love me some Crater Hoof. Woodfall Primus. You got your standard green planeswalker, just a little bit of little mana fixing. Now, as far as green goes, we do have the we have Worldly Tutor, so you can get into creatures. We also have a lot of the destroy target permanent, destroy target artifact, enchantment, stuff like that. Court of Calling to kind of supplement the if you're going for that collected company type build with Anafenza and Malera over there. Trying out Traverse in here. Seems like a pretty solid cube card. I like it. Commune with the Gods. This is another way to where if you're looking, say you build like a green-white enchantment deck with Blind Obedience, Oblivion Ring, you can get into, you can use Commune with the Gods to get into a creature or an enchantment card. So let's say you are going green-black Reanimator, so you can use this to kind of dig for Necromancy or any type of value type stuff. Life from the Loam, really good engine right there. Nature's. This is one card I'm trying out. I came across that and I was like, man, this looks like a pretty solid card. Target creature you control gains vigilance and trample until end of turn. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. So it's kind of a nice little way to, if you got a nice little like a 4/5 or a 5/5, take care of a creature and then swing in for 5 and then still have vigilance to block on the back end. One thing we have a little Cultivate, Kodoma's Reach if you're going green ramp. Eureka. Basically, you gotta put whatever permanents you have. It's definitely just a busted card to play with. I love it. Natural Order. Sacrifice a green creature, and then you can search your library for another big green creature. So you can sacrifice one of your mana dorks, or like a. So let's say you get Lona War Elves out. You can cast the Natural Order, sacrifice that creature, and then get into a Crater Hoof to give all your creatures trample. We can also get into. We have See the Unwritten. Look at the top 8 cards. Put a creature card onto the battlefield. Tooth and Nail. Once again, you can get into a weird spot to where, not a weird spot, if you ramp into 9 mana, you can search your library for up to 2 creature cards, reveal them, and then put 2 creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield, so you can get into like a Crater Hoof and a Avenger of Zendikar to really amplify the Crater Hoof bonus. Oath of Druids, once again, kind of like the Legacy deck right there. Survival of the Fittest, choose and discard a card. Choose and discard a card, search your library for a creature card, reveal that, and put it in your hand. So it's just kind of like Fauna Shaman, just on an enchantment. Sylvan Library, really good card advantage right there. Song of the Dryads, we run a lot of Planeswalkers, so it's a good way to kind of take care of a Planeswalker. And they run Birthing Pod, so you can set up a Birthing Pod type deck to where you can kind of curve out with that. Now as far as the multicolored, a lot of the multicolored stuff is just good stuff. So we got Geist over here. I'm not going to break down each of them. I just kind of wanted to cover what each color is known for in a cube, and then the multicolored, at least in my cube, is a way to supplement dipping into other colors, because you can definitely go 3 colors in here. If you're going to go to a control deck and get into Sphinx Revelation. So let me take a drink of water real quick. Yeah. At Ashiok, if you're going black-blue Tezzeret, you can get into a lot of artifacts that way. Good Reanimator right there. If you're going the red-green ramp, you can get into Burning Tree Emissary, a Target's Commands, Bloodbraid Elf, so you can get a cascade into. Right now, I'm just kind of hitting these real quick, just because they are what they are. There's just value creatures in these colors. Kitchen Fiends, Knight of the Reliquary, Loxodon Smiter, if you want to go a little beat down right there. Black-white, we got a little Tidehollow Sculler. Opposite that's Aid, so you can return target permanent from your graveyard to the battlefield. So if you are going Obzon Reanimator and you happen to mill one of your Planeswalkers for 5 mana, you can fire that up and bring it back to the battlefield. Same thing with Golgari. I love Golgari, so you can see might be a little more skewed towards Golgari, but this is my cube, so I want to make sure, if somebody wants to build a green-black deck, you have all the tools that you need necessary. Grizzly Salvage, I love Grizzly Salvages in here. Great for Reanimator, great for grabbing a creature, great for grabbing a land. Love playing with that card. Got the Get Rog in here. Want to see how we do in a cube. Simic Woodsage. Woodsage is a really good way to fill your graveyard up if you're going Sultai Reanimator. We also have Bounding Krasis, so enter the battlefield and you may tap or untap target creature. So if you can get into a Splinter Twin, you can go Teamer Twin, or if you get into untap Kiki Jiki, you can just go Infinite right there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Is it your standard? Is it sweet over here? I got the new Planeswalker in here. Keranos. Keranos, if you're going to build like a blue-red kind of mid-rangey control type, Keranos is awesome in cube. Beautiful. Card advantage, you can deal 3 damage target creature or player. As far as Boros goes, it's standard, Boros Sweet, and then we also have Progenitus. So with Progenitus, it can be shuffled into the graveyard. You can also run it as a Progenitus is an awesome sneak and show target, but you can also use it with the Vengeance over here. It's instant speed, so you chunk the Progenitus into the graveyard, then you can cast this for 2 mana, return to the battlefield, and you can swing in. It has protection from everything, even your little brother. Now, as far as artifacts go, I've got the Mox in here. I don't have Black Lotus in here. I used to have Black Lotus in here, but I don't know, Black Lotus was, I don't know, it was okay. I don't know, it just seemed like it would just bust out too quick right there. So I do have all the 5 mocks in here. And I've got your standard Mana Vault, Sensei's Divining Top, Skull Clamp, but just all the good artifact stuff. We're also running signets in here, so if you want to get into some ramp right there, signets for each color. And also have the all the swords in here. So if you want to just go value creatures and you can get pick up a couple swords, you can get into that. Running Mimic Vat. You know, if you get into a little sacrifice outlet right there, you can get into some Mimic Vat action. Also running a couple vehicles in here. I just want to kind of test them out. So we got Cultivator's Caravan. Nice little mana fixture right there, and you can crew it up for 3. It's a 5/5 body. Not bad for a little mana fixture right there. Got a little Mindslaver if you wanna see the world burn, get into some Mindslaver. Now, as far as the colors, creatures, we've got Solemn over here. You know, enters the battlefield, search for a basic, great mana fixing, and whenever it dies, you get to draw a card. So just overall around, just really good card. Wormcoil Engine, you can first pick this and just pretty much leave your colors open. Mirror Battlefield, once again, it's a Tinker target. And, you know, if you want to get into some green ramp, get into some Ulamog, you can definitely, you know, we're playing in limited, so you got a 40-card deck. So if you can somehow ramp into an Ulamog, exile 2 target permanents, and then whenever he attacks, exile the top 20 cards of the library, man, that'll kind of close it out pretty quick right there. And Emrakul, so you got to have Emrakul if you're going Sneak and Show, Sneak Attack, because let's see, if you get down Sneak Attack, choose target creature card from your hand, put it into play. So for 1 red mana, you can get a nice little Emrakul out there and kind of wipe your opponent's board out. And as far as the lands go, pretty standard right there. Nothing too crazy. You've got the fetch lands, the dual lands, and the shock lands. And as far as the colorless planeswalkers, we've got Karn and Ugin. So yeah, this is a cube right here. I just kind of wanted to break down the cube. If you've never cubed before, kind of just explain what each colors do. Now, what I want to show you is I want to show you how to draft a cube. Now, if you're going to draft a cube, one of the things that you do need to make you don't have to make an account to draft my cube. But if you want to save the cube, if you want to save the deck that you drafted, you do need to create an account. But you know, you're a smart person, you know how to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to playtest. We're going to go over to a draft right here. And what this will do, this will put out all the cards that we just explained in a draft type setting. You're going to draft within 7 other computers over here. So I'm just going to do a quick little draft so you can kind of see what's going on. I love playing with mocks. Yeah, well, we could go Reanimator right now. No, I'm going to go on mocks. I love playing with some of the Magic's power right there. What do we get into? Dig Through Time? Do we get into Dig Through Time? Yeah, I think I'm going to go a little dig. I love playing Dig Through Time. It's one of my favorite blue cards to play with. Let's see. We do have Mox, so I'm going to go get a Vampiric Tutor. Kind of leaves us a little open right there. Yeah, if we're going like maybe the black-blue Grixis, we can go Force of Will right here. Let's get into some Mana Vault. Now, as far as this goes right here, yeah, I may go ahead and go. If we're going Sultai, it's gonna get in. Yeah, get into some Cure. You know, I like. Well, if we're going pretty heavy blue, we might get into Cryptic. Yeah, I'll take Cryptic Command. Let's see. What do we want to get into? We could go Simic right here. If we do go Sultai, we get into the Mimic right here. Yeah, I like that. That's a nice little value beater right there. Not value. I mean, we're paying full price for it. Let's go. Oh, Trinket Mage. Trinket Mage will be a beautiful way to search up one of our mocks for this. Let's go Trinket Mage. I'm going to go Clever Imposter on this one. Yeah, let's go Wormcoil Engine. We could leave. No, yeah, let's go Kali. I thought about going in Reanimator, but we just don't really have the pieces for Reanimator, so I'm going to go Kali Touch right there. Ooh, Electrolyze that wield. So right now, you know, we have the Mimic right now, so we could go a little bit of a Soul type build, but by picking up Electrolyze, it allows us to kind of dip into a little bit of Grixis right there. And then let's, just in case we see a Dark Depths, we're going to pick up Vampire Hex Mage. Oh, Kiora Wield, so good. Pick it up, get into Boros Charm. Now, what else? What are we going to get into? Tinker. Okay, so we do have one artifact. We have the Mox Jet, we have Mana Vault, we have Wormcoil. Yeah, I'm kind of tempted to. Ooh, no, excuse me, Dark Depths. Yeah, let's go Dark Depths. just so we can live the dream, because we did have. See, that's one of those things to where if you're drafting. Picking up a combo piece like Vampire Hex Mage, maybe you get into it, maybe you don't. But if you have the piece, you have it. So I'm going to go ahead and take Dark Test. That way I have that option. Ooh, Time Walk. Snap Keep right there. I didn't even see what else in the pack. I just love playing with Time Walk. And let's go ahead and go Jace right here. Could get into a little bit of Vincer. Could go Part the Water Veil. We don't have an extra time card. Yeah, I'll go Part the Water Veil. We're here to have some fun. Sword of Fire and Ice. Yeah, I like that. If we get into a little bit of a, as far as our earlier, yeah, if we can get into a little bit of an earlier creature, I like Sword of Fire and Ice in here. Ooh, Mana Drain. I'll pick that up right there. Let's see what I'm just doing this kind of a quick draft, and there may be some better picks that we could be getting into, but I'm just kind of doing a quick little pick right here. Also, run Enter the Dungeon in here. This is man, this is just I like Enter the Dungeon. Basically, it's for me, my buddy. I love Enter the Dungeon. It's a lot of fun, but we are still basically we're going pretty much heavy blue right now. We have Kiora, and we have the Mimic. There's no really green cards. There's no really red cards we want to get into. We could get into some Goblin Dark Dwellers. If we end up going Grixis, we do have Electro. Yeah, we'll go that. That way, Goblin Dark Dwellers on a Time Walk. Sounds pretty good to me. What do we want to get into? I'm tempted to take the Breeding Pool. Yeah, we could get into some Goblin Rabble Master if we're going to get into this, but let's go Breeding Pool right now. Infernal Titan. No, let's go Kodoma's Reach. We could go Bounding Krasis to maybe get into little. No, we'll go red, right? Yeah, we'll just go Kodoma's Reach. That's a nice little mana fixing right there. So it looks like we might be shifting more a little towards Sultai. Let's pick up Song of the Dryad. You know, if we're going Reanimator, I would definitely go Wood Sage, but let's go Song of the Dryads that we're playing against any type of Planeswalkers. Putrefy, yep, that'll slot in right there. Beast Within. Yeah, we're going to take Beast Within. Let's go ahead and grab a Recurring Nightmare. Just kind of more, we're not going Reanimator, but ooh, Tolaria Academy Wield. I'll take that. And then Duress. That's actually pretty good right there. As far as this pack goes, it looks like we're kind of going more Sultai. So let's see. So we've got Scrubland right there, Werebear, Dawson. That should actually be really good right there. I like Dawson. Or we can go Tezzerator. Yeah, let's go Tez. That's the thing with this cube. There's a lot of Planeswalkers in here, so you can go Planeswalker all day if you want to. Thragtusk, nice little value creature out there, gain 5 life. I think I may go Thragtusk. Yeah, I like Thragtusk. Let's see, what else? Avenger of Zendikar. If we're ramping a little bit, yeah, I like having the option. We could go Mana Leak. Maybe it'll wheel around. Let's go Avenger of Zendikar. Let's go. Maybe go Karn on this one. Yeah, we can get a little Karn on action on that. Now this pack right here, Insidious Will, Living Lore. Yeah, you gotta live the dream sometimes. Living Lore on a Time Walk. Yeah, that's pretty. Ooh, Grim Flare. Yeah, we'll go for that. That'll help us out as far as our early stuff. As far as this goes, do we want Memory Lapse or Sensei's Divining Top? Let's go Sensei's Top. Zealous Conscripts, Grave Titan. We could go Bayou as far as mana fixing. Yeah, let's go and go Bayou. I'd like to get into Pack Rat, but we need a little bit of mana fixing over here. Werebear, Court of Calling. Let's go Tameo. Uh-oh. Got a little too quick for the computer. There we go. Let's go Grim Monolith. I guess, well, not really much in this pack right here for us. We'll just do a little hate draft right now and grab a little Sun Titan. And then grab Utter End. Let's go Vampire Nighthawk. I think we need to curve out a little bit better. Let's go, let's go Averson's Pilgrim and, pick up a Thoughtseized. Okay, now this is where you get to the spots where if you drafted a deck for my cube, you're not going to be able to save it if you don't log in. So that's why you need to log in before you do it. So we're going to name this, I'm definitely going Sultai. So we're going to name it Sultai. Sultai Good Stuff. And let's go and build the deck right now. So we've got, as far as our early stuff, Vampiric Tutor, search your library for a card, put that in there. Let's go and get our creatures up and running. So let's get Kalitas, Vampire Nighthawk, get in some Trinket Mage, Vampire Hex Mage. So we're just sitting at 4 creatures right now. What else? Other creature? Kind of a little light on creatures. Let's go Wormcoil Engine, Pathogenic Mimic, Living Lore. That's going to put us at, I may go and go to about 8 creatures on this one. Because we have a nice little removal suite over here. Oh, Grimflare, there we go. I think this is a nice little package right there. We had, creature curve's a little off, but we did a quick little draft. I think it'll be okay. Maybe we'll get into one more creature. Anything other creatures we want to add in there? Getting into some Clever Imposter. We might cut that. Yeah, I'm cool with 9 creatures right there. Because when you're building a cube deck, you want to build about 23, 24 cards and then have 16 to 17 lands. That's about the sweet spot. So let's go ahead and 100%, definitely going to go ahead and get in Time Walk, get in some mana drain action right there, get in some Jace the Mind Sculptor. Do we want Tezzeret right now? Target artifact. We're a little light on artifacts. Well, no, not too. We got Mana Vault, Sensei's Top. Yeah, we're going to put Tezzeret in there. I like that. Get another Grim Monolith, Mana Vault, Mox Jet. Actually, I'm going to put that because I'm going to count that towards our land. In Teleria Academy too, because we have a nice little artifacts over there. So let's go ahead and get in Sensei's Top. With Kiora, you can prevent all damage a target creature would build, so we're going to put that in there because that'll be a good way to kind of fog our opponent out. Let's bring Force of Will in there. I like taking extra turns, so let's go and get Part the Water Veil. And we need to add 3 more cards to our library. Actually, 4 more. I usually do about 24 cards in there. Let's go. Yeah, let's get Thragtusk in there as a little bit more of a value creature. So we're going 3 colors. I may hold off on Cryptic Mantis. We have some other stuff. So let's go Tameo. And we really don't have any fetch lands, so I don't know if I'm going to go Dig Through Time. Let's get Card in there just because it's such a good card, and then let's go ahead. Oh, you get Beast Within. A little bit of removal, and then Song of Dryads. Ooh, you can get Kadoma's Reach in there too. Alright, so now we need to cut about, let's cut about 3 cards in here. Yeah, let's go and cut the Mimic right there. I'm not really feeling that. I need to cut 2 more cards. We've got Mana Drain. Force of Will. You know, we do have a nice little bit of white in there. I mean, blue in there for Force of Will. Cut 2 more cards. We're at 9 creatures. We need to cut at least one of our other spells. Let's go down. I like Jace. I like Kiora. Actually, let's cut Kiora. That way our green's kind of more of our support type stuff, and you know, if we don't hit green, we're not stuck with a Kiora in our hand. And one more. Let's cut one more. Go ahead and cut. I'm just going to cut the Force Will. We'll go for that. Okay, now let's go and add our lands. We got Bayou, Tolarian Academy, Breeding Pool, Dark Depths that combos with Vampire Hexmage and Mox Jet. So now we need to add 11 more cards in here. So we're more heavy blue, kind of splashing. We got double black. So let's get 5 islands in there. Let's go 3 forests. That puts 8, and that'll put us at 3 swamps. That'll put us at 40. Yeah, I like that. 3, 3, 5. Nice little spread. Yeah, so there. That's how you can draft a cube. So if you want to draft the cube, get after it. Make sure you, like, one of the things I want you to do is I'm going to keep this cube updated as sets get released. So if you want to draft my cube and save the decks in there, I love looking at what's seen different people. So we're going to go, what do we want to name this? This is Sultai. Yeah, Sultai Good Stuff's a good name for it. So we'll go and save it right there. And then it gets saved. So you can also export it as a text if you want to play it like online or something, play against a buddy. Sometimes my buddy and I will just draft a deck and then hop onto one of the ways to play online, just kind of play it out right there. Now, if you want to see what other decks people build, go to the decks and go to the deck section, and you can see. You know, I've drafted my cube a lot right here. I do it in my spare time sometimes, but I've done it recently and kind of keep up with it. But yeah, here's my cube, guys. If you want to draft it, make sure you log in to save the draft. If not, screenshot it or something and comment in this video and show it to me. But yeah, that's my cube. All right, guys, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.